Hello everyone, it's Matt. Welcome to May's update on my solar PV and energy usage. So a quick overview, I have 4.9 kilowatt P of solar panels south facing. This all feeds into my GivEnergy all-in-one battery system. I do have a MyEnergi Eddi, which is a solar immersion system, but I have that switched off at the moment due to the tariffs being better to export than to self-consume. Now the all-in-one is slightly different to most hybrid systems. So as you can see, the gateway sits in between the smart meter and your consumer unit, and all of your batteries, solar, and if you have a car charger all go into the gateway. So if the power ever goes out, the gateway can switch off the main incoming grid supply, and then it's totally isolated in an island mode. Now onto the solar stats. May's obviously the best month I've had so far. I had my system installed at the end of November, so as the months have ticked over, every month has been getting better and better. May has been kind of a month of two halves. The first half was really good. The second half has been quite rainy and cloudy. But overall, we have managed to produce 544 kilowatt hours, which is roughly 17.5 kilowatt hours a day. Now, as this is the first year that I've had my system, I can't really compare it against previous years. But what I can do is compare it against the PV-GIS model that I've created for my system. And as you can see, I've got 96% of what it was estimating, so a very good modeling system so far. Now in terms of year to date, I've just ticked over the 1.7 megawatt hours, and that gives an average of just over 11 kilowatt hours a day for the entire year. In terms of costs and saving, I am on the Octopus Flux Tariff. It's a tri-band tariff where I get cheap electricity between 2 and 5 a.m. but I also get very expensive electricity between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. So this tariff is marketed towards people who have solar and a battery. So the idea is you charge up on cheap electricity during the night and solar, and that energy will take you through the peak period. You also get a corresponding export of the same hours. So if you have a battery, you can actually export during that peak period and actually get a very decent export. I think I get about 25 pence a kilowatt hour. As you can see, in terms of import, the vast majority of my electricity is on the off-peak period. And for the export, about 40% is on the standard band, which is just during the day of excess solar. And then the peak is, this is where the battery is force exporting. I've got the standard charge of just under 50 pence a day. And then as the DFS events have ended, I've just got my Octopus, which is you get 4 monthly rolls and you win a minimum of a penny each time, but you could theoretically win up to £1,000 off your bill. So altogether, I actually made a credit of £48.13 for May, and that's against if I had been on just the standard variable rate, I would have had a bill of £82.45. So the saving compared to the standard variable rate is £130. Now in terms of day-to-day costing, you can see that there were only 4 days in the entire month that actually I had to pay for my electricity. Every other day, I actually gained a credit. And you can see the solar generation graph at the top half, and you can obviously see on very poor days, that's when I had to pay for electricity. It seems to be around the 7 to 8 kilowatt hour mark in terms of solar. That's when I can kind of break even a little bit. So anything more than that, I can get a decent credit. The best day I think was on the 19th of May, where I generated 33 kilowatt hours of solar, and I was just shy of £4 of credit on that day. Month on month, obviously May's going to be better than April. Longer days, sunnier. So in terms of import, I imported 50% less. So with the greater solar generation, I didn't have to charge my battery as much overnight. In terms of generated, I should have generated about 14% more, but because April was actually a bit poor, I actually generated 21% more compared to then. And export, obviously with the better solar generation, I was able to export a slightly more. So overall, I was able to save an extra £14 on my bill in May compared to April. In terms of usage, as you can see my little Sankey chart, I've got the solar flowing in and I've got the grid flowing in. I was hoping that both the export directly from solar and from the battery was going to be greater than my house usage, but I didn't quite get there on the solar side. Hopefully in June, if we have a slightly better weather, we'll be able to do that. In terms of the house usage, the system losses, so that is taking into account that obviously when you charge the battery up, you might get 10 kilowatts hours of energy going into the battery, but by the time it's gone in and out again, you'll probably only get about 8.5 out. It also includes the fact that both the gateway and the battery consume a bit of power, even if they're not doing anything, so they probably consume around 30 to 40 watts, which is actually pretty high for what it's doing. I'm hoping that maybe they might be able to reduce that, but even so, because the battery allows me to get cheap electricity, it's not so bad. I've got a couple of new sensors. So the kitchen other sensor is new. That's basically the kettle, the toaster and the gas boiler. Not that the gas boiler is on much now in May, but we still get the hot water via gas, so that still actually contributes a reasonable amount, because when the boiler's on, even though it's only on for probably an hour a day for the water, it does consume probably about 100 watts when it's on. And then you've got the usual fridge, oven consuming a lot. I'm always surprised that lights at 10.4, knowing that all my lights are LED, and if this was 20 years ago and they were incandescent bulbs, that would be 10 times higher. So it shows you how much LED lighting can affect people's usage across the country. That would have been 100 kilowatts, so that would have easily been double what anything else in my house would have been. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's quick video. If you're not with Octopus for your energy supplier and you do want to join them, by all means use my referral code and we'll both get £50 off our next bill. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next month.